right, welcome everybody. Welcome back to our Decoding the Matrix series. We're in Matrix 3, Revolutions. And as I told you before, the Matrix trilogy answers three questions. Number one, what is the Matrix? That's the Matrix 1. Number two, Matrix Reloaded answers the question, why are we in the Matrix? And then Matrix 3, this is the question, how do we get out of the Matrix? It's called Matrix Reloaded. Matrix Revolutions. Matrix Revolutions. And so this is, for me, like I said before, probably one of the great sci-fi movies, because it deals with, to me, not only the condition of the planet, but it actually deals with the condition of us as human beings. You know, why are we in the illusions that have been programmed in our minds? How did we get in that situation, or why are we in that situation? Then the ultimate question is, how do we be saved? How do we get out of it? How do we change our condition? And so that's what we're going to look at today. But I just want to kind of go back and kind of summarize some of the points that we have made in the first two aspects of it, and that is, what is the Matrix? Well, the Matrix is about control. The Matrix is a computerized simulation. It is a dream world, an illusion that humanity has been placed in for the purpose of controlling them. In the movie, the controlling agency is the machines, artificial intelligence. So the movie is about this war between technology and humankind. And so, but really, when you go deep into it, it touches on the world system as we know it, politically and religiously, and that the people of this world are locked into a system of thought, a prison for their mind. And for the most part, the people are asleep. They are not awake. They are unconscious, if you will. So the movie, more or less, is a parody, or shall I say, is a parable about that condition in which most people in the world live in. They are unconscious of all the forces that are operating within them and around them, if you will, that are keeping them in a state of bliss, illusionary bliss. You know, it's nothing like a state of bliss that is programmed from the outside of you, that keeps you in a state of ignorance. In the first movie, we heard the phrase, ignorance is bliss. And I heard a person say today, to a large extent, how true that is in a positive sense. That the more you know, the more suffering and pain you have, and therefore the conclusion is ignorance is bliss. They rather not know, because to know creates a gnawing pain inside your mind, like Morpheus said, like a splinter in your mind driving you mad. And so this person was actually speaking about this from a realistic point of view. You know, they rather not know. And you couldn't argue with them, because you really could sense that that person was being honest with themselves. If they had to make a choice, like in the first movie, between the blue pill and the red pill, you know, the blue pill means stay asleep, believe what you want to believe, do what you need to do what you want to do. But the red pill means, you know, you wake up and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. I show you the things that you don't know. The truth of the matter is, we live in a world, whether you're talking about going to church, whether you're talking about television, whether you're talking about anything, people really just don't want to wake up. They really rather stay asleep. It's the lazy thing to do. It's the apathetic thing to do. Because, as the guy said this morning, when you wake up, then you have the responsibility of taking action. And so that was basically the Matrix 1. The machine world, in order to counter this rebel force led by Morpheus, they had agents. People are lost in a computer program, they had agents that would monitor all those connected to the system, and therefore they were monitoring the activity of Morpheus and all the others who were waking people up in the Matrix. Now, let me give you an example of why this is so relevant. You know, people play a lot of computer games today, war games, and there are other movies that deal with the whole idea of simulation. You know, like Avatar. Remember Avatar? How the guy could get in his suit and then he could go and interact with this other world while he was asleep on his ship. What do you think could happen with artificial, what do they call this thing where people put these glasses on and they can actually go and see and interact with other worlds, like being in a computer. It's like being in a program. What is that? It's a simulation pair of glasses they put on. What if it was possible, and it is, for people to create internet avatars whereby people can actually go to a place in a computer and react with people who own the same program. They do it now. They can play chess. You can play chess with different people, or play games, different people across wherever they are through the community. What if people actually can set up a virtual world, and you actually can have an identity separate from the identities you have in this world? You have another community, another identity in that world. Whereas you are a man in this world, you can be a woman in that world. And you can have relationships and interactions in that virtual world. People could play all type of sex games.
They made a movie like that.
Yes, they did. It was a movie like that. Now, if they can make a movie like that, you know the technology already exists, don't you? Where people can actually have different personalities, or they can create their own personality, just like they do with boxing or any of these little sports games, through this type of computer connectivity, whereby your hand movements and your body movements can be mimicked in the computer program. What I'm saying is that we're actually living in the world. We're living in the kind of world whereby people actually can have another life. It's virtual world, but it's real to them. That's where we are now. We are disconnected from the body, disconnected from the earth. And to a larger extent, this world we live in now is a dream world compared to the real worlds, and I said worlds that are less physical. Gospel of John, chapter 1, and the verses 1 through 18, actually is a breakdown of that. Yeah. Anybody have any questions on that? That's basically the first movie.
Yeah, Tron was like that.
The movie Tron was like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what happens at the end of movie 1, Matrix 1, Neo defeats Agent Smith, and it gives the appearance that, well, that's it. It's over with. The Messiah, Neo, also known as Thomas Anderson, Neo is the one. He realizes who he is, and he defeats Agent Smith, and, well, the hero's journey is over. Well, here comes Matrix 2, Reloaded, and the machines reload, reprogram, reconstitute their, upgrade their system. And so eventually what happened, this movie takes us into a deeper part. We have said that in each movie, Neo is always asleep. In the third movie, Neo is asleep on a table, which we just saw. In the second movie, Neo is asleep, dreaming about Trinity's death. In the first movie, he was at a computer at his station dreaming. Each time, Neo is dreaming. And what does that mean? That means that there are levels of sleep, even when we have the initial awakening or the initial I've been born again. You got to continue to be born again, because you've just awakened from one level of the illusion, and now you operate in the next level of the illusion. And obviously, in the third movie, Neo is waking up to another level of the illusion. So that's something important. But in Matrix 2, the question is, why are we in the Matrix? And so here, it answers the question, we are in the Matrix because we lack true power, true knowledge, which means we lack sufficient reason of why we do what we do. In the movie, the second movie, Neo is asking the question, what am I to do? Why am I the one? What really is going on? Neo lacked the reason why he was having dreams of Trinity's death. He didn't understand what was going on. He was awakening, and he didn't understand why. It's the same thing happens when people have some type of spiritual conversion. The first time they have a spiritual awakening, they're happy, they're giddy, they see things differently from a different point of view. But then after that experience, there's a kind of a depression that comes over them, and they are beginning. They think they're going backward, they're backsliding, but actually, you feel confused, because that's the next level of your growth emerging. That's the next level. And so Neo lacks the reason why he's the one. So he has to go to the oracle, because he's having these dreams and he can understand why. Neo has this conversation with the Merovingian, and the Merovingian tells them that they are doing what they're doing because they were told. They've been sent. So it's not really coming from self-motivation. Morpheus is controlled by a prophecy. Trinity is controlled by the desire for love and don't want to lose Neo. Neo is basically following what Morpheus is telling him, but there's something else hunting him, that there's something deeper that he's beginning to figure out that the others don't know. Ultimately, what happens? Neo has this conversation with the architect, and the architect tells him why he's the one, and why. Anybody remember why he's the one?
He was a necessary anomaly.
Right. He was the eventuality of an anomaly that exists in the programming of the Matrix. The problem that the machine world was trying to figure out as artificial intelligence that they were is how to keep people asleep. They created a perfect world, but humans kept waking up. They kept having this intuitive hunch that something is not right, and they will wake up and realize this is too perfect. Therefore, the Oracle figured out that the key to the riddle of the nature of humanity, check out, the machines figured out who man was before men could figure it out. They studied all the history of mankind, and they figured out that the problem to keep under control is that we are not actually one with ourselves. So, and we have this thing called choice and these intuitions that no matter how much control you put a human under, he will always begin to have these intuitive hunches and glimpses of a truth. So how do you offset that? It is inherent in man, and so how do you compensate that? Like he said, with a measure of control, is that they built choice into their program of control. They gave people the illusion by giving them a prophecy of a Messiah that would end their problems. So instead of them learning how to deal with their problems internally and bridge the gap between themselves, they allow the machine world to figure out the best way to keep them under control is to give them the illusion of choice and the promise of a Messiah. As the architect said at the end, hope, it is your quintessential human delusion, simultaneously the source of your greatest strength and your greatest weakness. Hope. Hope. So they gave them hope. But the hope was outside of them and not within them. And that meant that they could allow them to wake up, go through this process of freeing themselves from the matrix, and then shut down Zion and destroy it, and then allow the Messiah to choose 23 people from Zion to start the program over. And therefore they kept them in a perpetual, what they call in the Buddhist tradition, samsara, the wheel of life. And nobody knew the beginning of how it got there, because everybody who would know would destroy it. And the new ones would select it, and therefore they didn't understand what was going on. So they kept having, one revolution after another revolution, and just going in circles and going nowhere. And the machines always stayed in control. And the people accepted that, and it kept them, in a way passive. That's why the second movie wasn't that popular, because that hit humanity, that hit the conscience too hard, and it shut people down. Because see, people like the first one because the first one is a hero story. Someone's coming to save you from your enemy. The second one broke that down and said, there is no Messiah coming to save you. Now what that does is that puts you in a dilemma with yourself and what you're going to do. That's where we come in, to the third matrix. Let me say something else about the second matrix. You see, now that we have discovered that the prophecy was a lie, the question becomes now, what do we do? And the movie ends in Matrix 2 ends with Neo outside the Matrix, but he has the ability to feel the machines coming. And he sticks his hand out, and they shock him, and he destroys. He stopped them in mid-flight, and it knocks him out, and it destroys these little squidgies that were coming to destroy Morpheus and all the rest of them. So now we began in number 2, and in number 3, movie 3, and so now here's the condition. And this is a very interesting condition. Now that we know that the Messiah program was a lie, there is no Messiah coming to deliver Zion from the machines. How do we get out the matrix? That's number 3. How do we get out the matrix? Now that we know that the machines are coming to destroy Zion, what are the people going to do? That's the question they have to answer. Okay? Now that we know that Agent Smith is a virus, a threat to not only the human world, but to the machine world, the question is, what is the machine world going to do? Because everybody is in jeopardy. The war was between the machines and the humans. But Agent Smith in Matrix 2 discovered the ability to replicate himself, and he was changing everybody in the Matrix to look like him. And why was he doing that? Because he had a fear of being deleted. The humans have a fear of being killed by the machines. The machines had a fear of being turned off by the humans. Everybody's operating out of fear, and everybody is what? Fighting each other out of fear. The war now between the humans and the machines takes on a different perspective, because now Agent Smith who's a virus or a cancer in the program world is threatening everybody. So what are the machines and the humans going to do? This is the question of Matrix 3, which is, to me, I guess I'm just a geek or an egghead or whatever. That was just, man, I was just spinning when I just saw that. I said, because this is just like the world we live in today, where you have one group against another group. You know what I'm saying? And they both are battling each other, fighting for survival. You have one gender, men in war against women. Everybody's fighting for, their survival. You have one religion against another religion. And we're all on the same planet. And everybody's fighting on the same planet. Black versus white, Jew versus Christians, Muslim versus Jews and Christians, pagans versus non-pagans. Everybody's fighting. And we all share the same planet. And a third force comes in that threatens everybody on the planet. So what do we do? What do we do? That's the question. What do we do? So I think the best way to break this down, we need to look at some parts in the movie. As you see here, this lady here is the new Oracle. Like I said, in the second Oracle, the lady that played the Oracle in the second movie, she really actually died in real life. And when she went out, she had some type of cancer and she succumbed to it. So they got this lady here, and she played the new Oracle. And so let me see if we can hear a little bit of this.
I'm sorry I couldn't be sitting here like you remember me, but it wasn't meant to be.
What happened?
I made a choice, and that choice cost me more than I wanted it to.
What choice?
To help you, to guide Neil. Now, since the real test for any choice is having to make the same choice again, knowing full well what it might cost, I guess I feel pretty good about the choice, because here I am, at it again.
Do you know what happened to Neo?
Yes. He is trapped in a place between this world and the machine world. The link is controlled by a program called the Train Man. He uses it to smuggle programs in and out of the Matrix. If he finds out where Neo is before you get to him, then I'm afraid our choices are going to become difficult.
Why?
Because of who the Train Man works for.
The Merovingian.
He has placed a bounty on your lives. You must be careful at all times. Seraph knows how to find the Train Man. He'll go with you. For years, he has protected me. I hope he can do the same for you.
Please follow me.
Now watch this dialogue here. Now this is important because, see, Morpheus feels deceived by her because she told him of a prophecy about the One. And that's what motivated him. He's motivated by a prophecy that the One was going to end the war. Well, Neo discovered through the architect the One was never meant to end the war. Now Morpheus is confused, and this is what she says to him.
I know, Morpheus. I can see you are filled with doubt, clouded by uncertainty.
After everything that has happened, how can you expect me to believe you?
I don't. I expect just what I've always expected, for you to make up your own damn mind.
No.
Believe me or don't. All I can do is tell you that your friend is in trouble, and he needs your help.
And see, that's the key. Is that the reason why we're in this matrix is because we refuse to make up our own mind. We refuse to do the diligence to know our own truth and to make up our own mind. Oftentimes we look to others for authority and for reasons. for why we do what we do. Now that we have the ultimate truth that all that we have been told to believe in is false, you got a choice to make. You have a choice. You have to make up your own mind. See, I say all the time that many times, and this is a hard thing. This is really a hard thing to accept. And this is one of the reasons why I think that in the Bible, the story about Jesus where he says he speaks in parables. Because most people don't want the truth. They want something. They don't want to think through the truth. We have this attachment to leaders, and sometimes when you're a child, it is true. When you are a child, it's necessary. But at some point in time, you have to stop following leaders, and you have to become co-partners. You have to move from dependency on others to independency upon yourself. Ultimately, the ultimate step in consciousness is interdependency, where you go from you do it for me, you think for me, to I think for myself, to let's think together. We think. And the truth of it is, a lot of our relationships are codependent. You think for me. And then when we have independent relationships, it's good, but it creates conflict because we don't work together. I have my thoughts, you got your thoughts. But here's the problem. We share the same room. We share the same church. We share the same community. We have to reason together for the interest of us all. That make any sense? And see, when I think about what goes on in our city, and this is I'm really serious about this. When I think about what goes on in our city, when I listen even to some of our so-called black radicals, I hear almost like codependent conversations, pointing the finger, the blame, what they did to us, what they are doing to us. It's not that it's false. It just doesn't show a level of maturity. If they stole it, you have to return it. But now that you got it, and now that you're grown, you're independent. The level of growth is not over with. Because until you and I, as two mature adults, independent, have our own thoughts and minds, the two can become one. And we can have this marriage, if you will. We will have war and warring factions among us, to the extent that the whole community suffers. So we must figure out together how to have brother and sister relationships, or brother and brother relationships. We got to figure out how we're going to have ma'at, balance, peace. Got to figure out how we're going to have a win-win situation. And that requires deep level of spiritual consciousness and maturity. And we can't do it because someone says this is what you ought to do. The only way you can truly have a deep, spiritually based relationship, it has to come from the heart. That's what movie 3 is about. It's a deep movie. Any of you have any questions on the comments on this?
Just learn.
He needs.
Let's look at this
Yes,
communication.
in the restaurant.
I remember.
Yes, in the restaurant.
I remember when we had the movie
yeah,
2.
you said-
I tell you, make note of this. That's him right there. Now he is a program. He's a part of the machine world. And listen to the conversation. This is when Neo begins to figure out what exactly is going on. Okay?
The Frenchman. I am Ramakandra. This is my wife Kamala, my daughter Sati. We are most honored to meet you.
Your programs.
Oh yes. I am the power plant systems manager for recycling operations. My wife is an interactive software programmer. She is highly creative.
What are you doing here? You do not belong here.
Kamala, goodness, I apologize. My wife can be very direct.
It's okay. I don't have an answer. I don't even know where here is.
This place is nowhere. It is between your world and our world.
Who's the train man?
He works for the Frenchman.
Why did I know you were going to say that?
The Frenchman does not forget, and he does not forgive.
Do you know him?
I know only what I need to know. I know that if you want to take something from our world into your world that does not belong there, you must go to the Frenchman.
Is that what you're doing here?
Rama, please.
I do not want to be cruel, Kamala. He may never see another face for the rest of his life.
I'm sorry.
So he's in a state of unconsciousness. He's actually on the table in the ship, knocked out. But he's not in his world, and he's not in the Matrix. He's in a subterranean world. You know how we talk about that there are levels of heaven, there are levels of hell. This is what you call Bardo in the Tibetan Buddhist system. He's in a waiting station, you know, if you will. That's why they call it the train man. And these are like where you take things from hell, you know, bypass, you know, the angels, make things from hell into the other worlds. That's the train man. It's a communication network, a gateway, if you will. But he's in a state of trying to figure himself out. Purgatory, if you will, is from the Catholic standpoint. You know. And so he can just be left there indefinitely. You know. Wondering, searching, not really nowhere. He's there and nowhere at the same time.
You don't have to answer that question.
No, I don't mind. The answer is simple. I love my daughter very much. I find her to be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Now keep in
But where
mind.
we are from, that is not enough.
Now keep in mind, he's a program, and he's speaking about attachments called love. You see, what he's putting together and discovering is what? Is that not only do humans feel love and fear death, but everything does. He's attached to his creation called a daughter. They having relationships at their own level. Listen what Neil says.
And that is created must have a purpose. If it does not, it is deleted.
So they understand that they're getting ready to be deleted because their function in that world is getting ready is ending. Just like there comes a point in time when what we do, the jobs we do in this world, it runs out. Like the Oracle said in the last movie. When a program comes to its end, its function is no longer relevant, something needs to replace it, then that program is deleted. Well, that program is conscious. It doesn't want to die. It doesn't want to accept death. Just like us. We don't want to accept the end of things. Well, they apparently do. But what they're doing, they're making a deal with the Frenchman who's holding them for their daughter so that she can go on. They're making a deal with the devil.
I went to the Frenchman to save my daughter. You do not understand.
I just have never...
Heard a program speak of love.
It is a human emotion.
No, it is a word. What matters is the connection the word implies. I see that you are in love. Can you tell me what you would give to hold on to that connection?
Anything.
Then perhaps the reason you are here is not so different than the reason I am here.
Now that becomes the whole motivating force in the movie. Neo's beginning to figure out that the war against the machines, has another nuance to it. They are just like us. It's the same kind of thing that happens when you have this war against your cultural or your racial enemy, and you see them in another context, and you say, oh, they have family issues and family connections. They are fighting for the same reason I'm fighting for. They're fighting for their survival. They're fighting for their attachments, their love. And what would, somebody ask you, well, what would you give to protect your sons? Well, you would do what they would do to protect their children is the same thing you would do to protect yours. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So Neo is beginning to realize that being part machine and part human, he can begin to feel and sense the same thing. The same thing from both perspectives. The machines are fighting for their survival, not because they hate humans, but now they have consciousness, and they love their families as much as you love yours. Any questions on that?
That's pretty deep.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go to this part where Neo finally meets the Oracle for the last time, and so let's look at that, because that becomes a profound conversation where he begins to put together what and who is Agent Smith. So when we get there, we'll break that down.
I don't yet recognize my face in the mirror.
Let's go back here and set it up where we can get the start of it.
Sati, honey.
Yeah. Now listen to this conversation.
Tasting. Take the bowl to Seraph and find out if they're ready.
Now this is the final meeting he's going to have with the Oracle. Remember, he's had two other meetings before this. You know, in the first movie, he has one meeting with each time. This is the third meeting in the third movie.
Okay. I'm glad you got out.
Me too.
So, do you recognize me?
A part of you.
Yeah, that's how it works. Some bits you lose, some bits you keep. I don't yet recognize my face in the mirror, but I still love candy.
Now watch this. Remember, in each movie I've told you that she always offers him something sweet. First movie's a cookie, second movie was this red candy. Watch this time.
No, thank you.
He doesn't take it. Now, you got an idea why he doesn't take it in the third movie? What do you think the reason why he doesn't take it in the third movie?
What, he doesn't trust her as a program anymore? Or he doesn't, there's a part of her he doesn't recognize, or she doesn't know herself, or,
Actually, I think, this is my own theory. I think the reason why in the third movie he doesn't take the candy, the first two he took the sweets, the cookie and the red candy. In the third movie, he doesn't want anything sweet. He wants the bitter truth. The bitter truth.
Well, yeah, because she did say in the first one that you had to mix something sweet with the truth or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some phrase like that.
Yeah. See, in order to take, like, a lot of times you take some orange juice and put your medicine and put your kids and they drink it. You know, the point is, the problem with humanity is that it can't take raw truth. But when you grow your conscience to a level, then to a point whereby you're mature, you don't need little sweeteners, little stories, You know, you don't need something to make you feel good so you can handle the truth. You want it uncut, raw, because you know that what keeps you locked into the dream world is mediated truth. You know, by that I mean truth that is not pure truth, just enough truth so you can, okay, you say yeah I got that, but then you can stay kind of halfway asleep. So candy is a symbol. Is a symbol of mediated truth, if you will. It's a symbol of you're not really ready for the full, real, raw information. He's there now. If you look at him, he's there now, and he's in his full consciousness. He's not afraid anymore. He has faced his ultimate fear. He's been dead. He's resurrected. Now he wants to know the full truth. He's not going to sleep anymore now. Okay? Now watch this. Keep on.
Remember what you were like when you first walked through my door? Jittery as a June bug. And now just look at you. You sure did surprise me, Neo. And you still do.
You gave me a few surprises, too.
I hope I helped.
You helped me to get here, but my question is why? Where is this going? Where does it end?
See, that's what he wants to know. You know, where's this going? What is in? Because he knows that there's a war brewing. You're getting now ready for the apocalypse, where the ultimate battle is getting ready to take place. The machines are digging. The machines are about to break the interior of Zion, where the last bastion of humanity is residing. And they're coming to destroy humanity. That's according to the program they're supposed to carry out. He knows he's not the one, but he does know that he doesn't want all humanity destroyed. Okay?
I don't know.
You don't know, or you...
See, she don't know. She doesn't know where it's going. So now we're not dealing with prophecies. We're not dealing with control. We're dealing with uncertainty. We're dealing with uncertainty. Nobody knows what's going to happen. We're dealing with mystery now.
You know, there's a parallel between what's happening now. If you look at the direction the world is going in, and the elite and their decisions about the population and control and the new world government, and what are they going to do with all these different nations, their beliefs, and how are they going to organize to bring this under the umbrella of one thought process?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how are they going to eliminate these nationalities, national nationalisms.
Nationalisms, yeah, nations, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, see, that's important, because this is where we are now. We're in a major transitionary point, and people who walk around talking about, well, they've read the Bible, read the Quran, and they know what the future's gonna hold. No, they do not. You remember in the Bible where it says they asked Jesus a question, when the ends come, and he says, no one knows, not even the Son does not know. We're dealing with uncertainty. In other words, what that's telling us is that the future is not written. You know why? You know why?
we haven't made the choice.
That's right. This is what they call in the many worlds view, or in quantum physics, the many worlds hypothesis, that there are multiple possibilities, and based upon where we focus our intention, that world comes into view. This is where the problem is choice.
You know, the only vision that I had that didn't have a conclusion to it was the last one. You couldn't see what was going to happen. You just see these two entities on the planet preparing.
See, this is the problem when people begin to talk about, I know what's going to happen in the future, and you may go to a person who may even have, who are very sensitive and can like see things that you can't see. All that they can see is a possible future. But every time you make a decision, it creates a fluctuation. And it brings into view a possible future. And every time you repent or change your mind, you shift to a possible another future. In other words, all possibilities are in what they call superposition. From using quantum words, they're in superpositions. In other words, let's say like this: right now we don't know what the future's gonna. We don't know what the future's gonna hold. We're in the game. We don't know what the future's gonna hold. And there could be a future when you leave here. You can go to Walmart. There's a future you leave here. You can go by a sister's house and go by a brother's house. There's a situation you can go by here and you might have a flat tire. May have to go to call somebody to get it fixed. It's a number of possibilities. And so with every little choice that you make from this point on, one of those worlds are coming into view. So when we talk about what the future is going to hold and what is going to happen tomorrow and everything in terms of these big things, like you talking about like what the world's going to be, everybody is playing a part. Everybody is playing a part. And when we make a decision, our destiny is shaped. So the importance of us maturing and growing spiritually allows us the potential to create a better world, or to bring a better world into view, put it that way. That make any sense to you? And that's exactly what she's beginning to say to him. She doesn't know. They've been going to her looking for answers. She's the oracle. She's the preacher. She's the one that's supposed to know. Now they got to make up their own mind, because even the oracle doesn't know. But one thing she do know is this.
Tell me.
I told you before, no one can see beyond a choice they don't understand. And I mean no one.
What choice?
It doesn't matter. It's my choice. I have mine to make, same as you have yours.
Does that include what things to tell me and what not to tell me?
Of course not.
Then why didn't you tell me about the architect? Why didn't you tell me about Zion and the ones before me? Why didn't you tell me the truth?
Because it wasn't time for you to know.
Who decided it wasn't time?
You know who.
There we are again. Temet no say. Know thyself. The reason why she couldn't tell him, because he kept taking the candy and the cookie. He didn't want to know because he wasn't ready to know himself. You got to make up your own mind. So the reason why people talk about, well, you know, why didn't you tell me about this aspect of religion when I was a child? Why didn't you tell me this? Why didn't you tell me that? You didn't want to know. You weren't ready for the truth. See, we created that reality. All she did was just gave us what we wanted to know. So you wake up when you're ready to wake up. So this is when you talk to a religious-minded person, a person who's caught up in some religion, it's almost a waste of your time, because that person really is not ready to understand that they're dealing with not truth. They're dealing with what do you call it? They're dealing with a story, because they're believers, and at some level, all believers are deceivers. They need a story. They don't want the raw, unadulterated truth, because they're not ready for it. And they get mad when they find out something and think that you lied, you betrayed. No.
They didn't want to know.
No, you didn't want to know. And when you come to the point where you begin to know yourself, you lose the anger. And you realize things are as they should be. Now, he realizes the truth. He comes back and they say what?
I did.
What did he say?
Then
I
I think
did.
it's time for me to know a few more things.
I did.
So do I.
Yeah, he said I did. He asked her at the beginning, he says, why didn't you tell me? And she said, you know a reason why. And then she pointed to that sign. Then he realized, I determined
Oh,
that I didn't want to know. Now he says, I think I'm ready to know now. And she said, you're right.
Tell me how I separated my mind from my body without jacking in. Tell me how I stopped 4 sentinels by thinking it. Tell me just what the hell is happening to me.
The power of the One extends beyond this world. It reaches from here all the way back to where it came from.
Where?
The source. That's what you felt when you touched those sentinels. But you weren't ready for it. You should be dead. But apparently you weren't ready for that either.
The architect told me that if I didn't return to the source, Zion would be destroyed by midnight tonight.
Please. You and I may not be able to see beyond our own choices, but that man can't see past any choice.
Why not?
He doesn't understand them. He can't. To him, they are variables in an equation. One at a time, each variable must be solved and counted. That's his purpose, to balance the equation,
What's your purpose?
to unbalance it.
And so you see the relationship between the architect and the oracle. He balances the equation, she unbalances it. So what they got going on, a yin and a yang, black and white, duality. That's her purpose, that's his purpose. That's how they keep the system going. But the question is, the system is trying to evolve. And this is why I was saying earlier, even today when we was talking about luck and everything. See, luck requires, how can I put this? Luck requires choice. Choice. It puts a burden of responsibility on us whereby when we don't know how something's going to happen, what's going to happen, that's why I can't throw luck out. Because luck says that there's karma, there's karma. Karma is what's coming to you. But luck says you have a choice to create a happenstance that is not pre-programmed or planned. And it puts some power to you. Now, don't get me wrong, karma is very powerful. That cause and effect thing is going to happen. But you can manipulate the possibilities by creating an unknown. It is that potential of the unknown that allows for the evolution of all things. To create another possibility. To bring online another reality. When you don't do that, you allow the system to run naturally. Natural law. Natural. But you can go beyond the law. That's why there's a relationship between luck and grace. Because grace is a kind of a favor. Grace is favor and luck is a favor and everything. You got favor. So you're not necessarily bound by the rules. There's some rules you can bend. Some you can't. But some you can bend when you're conscious of this power, of this possibility. Infinite possibilities. Not just one where you're so certain that this is going to happen. This is going to happen. People say, you did this and this is going to happen. It can. But with luck, another probability, another possibility can come online. If you know how to relate to those entities that bring about that other possibility. That's more than the Matrix talking about, but I just throw that in.
What do you want?
I want the same thing you want, Neo. And I'm willing to go as far as you are to get it.
The end of the war. Is it going to end?
one way or another.
Can Zion be saved?
I'm sorry I don't have the answer to that question, but if there is an answer, there's only one place you're going to find it.
Where?
You know where.
See, she knows what's holding him up. What do y'all think was holding him up? What do you think? Because what do you think is holding him up? She keeps telling him about the one and the source and how he has to go back to the source. What do you think he knows that he doesn't want to admit that's holding him up?
It's in him.
Yeah, that's true. Let me put it another way. What do you think in terms of Dr. King? That he realized that certain choices he made, that in order to make those choices, he had to accept a certain inevitability. What's inevitable?
I mean, death.
Absolutely. That's what it means to be one with the source. In order for one world to evolve to the next, the old world must die. And he realized that the purpose of the one is to die. He didn't want to die. He didn't want to die. Because death means letting go of that which he loved. Just like the machines and people that he was talking to, that family he was talking to, their love for that little girl meant that they were willing to allow themselves to be deleted in order that she might live. She was the future.
And if you can't find the answer, then I'm afraid there may be no tomorrow for any of us.
What does that mean?
So this is something that she realizes when you're talking about making choices. That it's not a matter of him telling him this is what you got to do, like you're some kind of program. This has to be done by choice, because true love ultimately is a choice. If you just, as he did before, when the architect was wanting him to do what he wanted him to do, as far as to go in and reboot the systems to save the machine world and start over and everything, that was based on a program. That's based on following an order, based upon a preordained purpose. But when you have choice, and that choice is motivated by love, it has to be free. You got to make up your own mind. And she realizes that. This is what she says to him here.
Everything that has a beginning has an end. I see the end coming. I see the darkness spreading. I see death. And you are all that stands in his way.
Now he's talking about Agent Smith now.
Smith.
Very soon, he's going to have the power to destroy this world, but I believe he won't stop there. He can't. He won't stop until there's nothing left at all.
What is he?
He is you. Your opposite, your negative. The result of the equation trying to balance itself out.
And if I can't stop him?
One way or another, Neo, this war is going to end. Tonight, the future of both worlds will be in your hands or in his.
There you go.
Boop, he wakes up.
That's what it's all about. You see, it's coming down to the fact where Neo has to face Agent Smith. The final battle. In And she says to him, let me go back and see if I can get this together now. She says to him that he is your negative, your shadow. What is she telling him? Agent Smith is him. I mentioned last week about there are 3 things about dealing with this whole process. You only get smarter by playing a smarter opponent. The more sophisticated the game, the more sophisticated the opponent. And the third rule is you will find your enemy in the last place you'll look. That's right. Everything in this world is a projection of our own consciousness or lack thereof. Agent Smith is him. He's his shadow, his negative. Everything that casts a light casts a shadow. And she says at the end, you will have, or he will have, the power to determine the future. But there's coming an end. Because everything that has an end, everything that has a beginning, has an end. It's just a question of whose hands it's going to be in. She's only concerned about the future. But she knows that before you can get to the future, you got to close the book. You got the end has to happen to this part. This is why this third one is really deep, because it puts us all in a position of dealing with what are we willing to give up, sacrifice. See, we keep wanting Jesus to bear the cross. Well, Jesus can do his part. But the Bible is very clear. Must Jesus bear the cross alone and all the world go free? No, there's a cross for everyone, for you and for me. When we look at churches, everybody want to put the pressure and the responsibility on the leaders. The leader got to do this. The leader got to do that. The leader, they sit back and they want the leader to save the church, or a few people in the church who support and do work. They want them to save the church. Y'all need to do something. What y'all gonna do? Or in the community, we look at the people in the community who have the money or who have political power and political position, and they look at it and they say, well, what y'all gonna do? Because y'all not doing this for black folk, and y'all not doing this for poor people, and y'all not doing this for children. You see, we want other people to bear crosses, and we sit back and just reap benefits. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You know? What are you going to do? Because all I can do is what I can do. But I can't do your part and my part. In a marriage, you can't do the work of your mate. You can't do your children's homework. They have to do their own homework. They have to take responsibility to make their own bed, tie their own shoe at some point in time. They have, even if that little bit, they have to do that. Everybody has to do their part, do their share for the growth of the body, of the family, of the church, of the city. Everybody has to do their share. And the people who preach a type of gospel that takes away your responsibility, they are keeping you in a state of immaturity. That's the reality. That's the reality. It's a tough reality, but everybody has to sacrifice. Everybody has to give something. And that's one of the main reasons why that there is no Messiah coming to do for you what you must do for yourself. That's the main reason. You gotta grow up. So let's move on. Neil has to think about this. Any of y'all have any questions about any of this? One more part I'm gonna eventually show. Let's look at this right here. This confrontation between Agent Smith and the Oracle. This is important here because she keeps talking about she has to make a choice and she don't know what the outcome is going to be. See, everybody has to make a choice. It's not just Neo going to say the word. Everybody has to make a choice. Everybody.
Great and powerful Oracle, you meet at last. I suppose you've been expecting me, right? The all-knowing Oracle is never...
See, she's an all-knowing Oracle. She knows everything. So this creates a conundrum in his head because if she knows everything, why didn't she run? Remember the Chinese guy that was always around her? Notice he's not there. He's with the little girl. Remember what his programming was? He protects that which matters most. He's not protecting her anymore. She has made a decision. Watch this.
Pride, so can she be? She knows everything. But if that's true, then why is she here? If she knew I was coming, why wouldn't she leave? Maybe you knew I was going to do that. Maybe you didn't. If you did, that means you baked those cookies and set that plate right there deliberately, purposefully. Which means that you're sitting there also deliberately, purposefully.
What did you do with Scotty?
Cookies need love, like everything does.
You are a bastard.
You would know, Mom.
Do what you're here to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, why do you think he wants her?
Is you challenging him? Is she challenging you?
No, she has a gift that he wants.
Oh.
Remember, what's motivating him? You know what I'm saying? He's afraid to die. That's why he's replicating himself. So anytime any one of them gets killed, he still lives. So what he wants is her gift. What is her major gift?
No.
She's an oracle. To know the future gives you the ultimate weapon to keep yourself from meeting your demise. So he wants to see the future. And he wants the eyes of the oracle. Notice he didn't stick her in the heart. He stuck her in the hand. That'll be significant later on. He has a vision now.
I really wish I...
He's all powerful now. Let's move on from this.
Oh my goodness.
What a mind created this boy. She
I'll
was...
tell you, Sophia Stewart's a
Ooh,
genius, isn't
God.
she?
And when you listen to her talk, she sounds...
It is not a team.
I mean,
Time will tell.
unassuming.
Yeah. Here's another little part I guess I need to show.
Like she's not even aware of her own brilliance or something like that. It's like, it's a matter of fact.
Just before the Sentinels found us.
What did she tell you?
The same thing she always does.
Okay, let's watch this
In less than 12
conversation.
hours, the machines will breach the dock walls. Every simulation we've run, we've seen that once the machines are inside the city, the odds of our survival decrease dramatically.
So everybody's concerned about the machines coming. This guy here that's playing Commander Locke, he is a rationalist. He only knows about battle plans and structures. He's not into this thing that Morpheus into about messiahs and you know, Christ and all that kind of stuff. So this is his report. He giving his report to the counselors. Notice Cornel West on the end over there, and about what's going to happen, how he sees the future.
Thus, our primary objective must be to destroy or disable the diggers inside the dock. If we can do that, perhaps we can prevent them from ever reaching the city. If not, the only place we will be able to mount an effective defense will be at the entrance of the temple. It is small enough that it will force them into a bottleneck, allowing us to concentrate the remainder of our defense.
We understand that you've requested additional volunteers.
That is correct.
Precisely what size force are you planning to commit to the primary dock objective?
Right now, the entire APU Corps and half the infantry.
Half the infantry?
If it were up to me, Counselor, I'd take every man, woman, and child, put a gun in their hand, and march them straight into that dock.
Perhaps it is best that it is not up to you.
Time will tell, Counselor.
Commander, just one more question. Has there been word from the Nebuchadnezzar?
None, and at this point, there's no reason to expect that there ever will be.
Perhaps. But we can hope.
I'm afraid.
Yeah. See, now it's coming out of hope. Everybody's scared. Everybody is scared about the coming invasion of the army. We're getting down to what is called the Armageddon.
What if I don't want to remember?
Let me go back here. Let me find. Okay.
Place, I'm bringing her back online. Looking good, except, something wrong with the matrix feed.
That's Agent
No,
Smith.
there's not. You're looking at what we're looking at.
He's changing the
What's
matrix.
going on in there?
Whatever it is, it can't be good. The machines are taking junction
Okay, let me
21.
stop it here before I explain this next part. Okay, this is important because in every culture they have like a final battle scene. In the Judeo-Christian Islamic traditions, you have the apocalypse. You know, the coming of the war between the Antichrist and the Christ, or good versus evil in the war. In Viking Norse mythology, you have the Midgard serpent in war against Thor, and at a place called Ragnarok. That's the end of the world theory, that the world comes to an end. In Greek mythology, you have Zeus versus the Titans, and that is a kind of an end of the war scenario. The sea monster called the Kraken is released. You know, that's like the Midgard serpent. That's like the battle of, again, Satan versus Jesus at the end of the whole world and all that kind of stuff. Everybody has these found battle scenes. What does this stuff really mean? And they have given to have a found battle scene here. As you see here, if you're getting ready to see, Neo is faced with a decision, and he's getting ready to make this decision now.
The way I see it, if we drop down from broadcasting here, in our Seg 153, we might surprise her. We'll go first, hammer as deep as we can, then blow our EMP. Hopefully we can punch a hole big enough for you to get through. It ain't pretty, but the way I see it, it's the only way back.
No, it's not. There's another way. A support line. It drops down right here, 1,000 meters short of 21. If we're lucky, we may be able to slip down without them ever knowing.
That's a mechanical line. It's impossible. No one can pilot mechanical.
I can.
Oh, shit.
I've done it.
That was a long time ago, Naomi.
I said I can do it.
So what? If you can, you'll be the only one that can. There's no way we can follow you.
So here come Neo, getting ready to tell his plan.
I know time is always against us. I'm sorry that I took so long. But I wanted to be sure.
Sure of what?
I know what I have to do.
What?
There's no easy way to say this, so I'll just say it. I have to take one of the ships.
What?
To go where? To the machine city. I know it's difficult to understand.
No, it's not. You're out of your goddamn mind.
I still have to go.
You'll never make it. In 100 years, no ship has been within 100 kilometers of it. You'll never make it.
I have to try.
Is this what the Oracle has told you?
See, if this what the Oracle has told you.
It needs to be substantiated by some external
Right.
prophecy.
Look at this.
No.
It says no.
This is asinine. If you want to kill yourself, go do it. But do it without wasting one of our ships.
You have to believe me, I have to go.
Bullshit! I am the captain of this ship. I say where it has to go.
And believe me, the ship will go to hell long before I let you take it anywhere.
He can take mine.
You can't do that.
Don't even think of trying to tell me what I can or cannot do with my ship after that little speech.
But for Christ's sake, Naomi.
I'll pilot this ship. He can take mine. If we leave inside the hour, we should reach Zion as the machines do. That's as good a plan as any.
It's a waste. Goddamn waste.
See, all this is irrational. Because now they're in the realm of getting beyond the program and conditioned responses and certainty what's going to happen. They don't know what's going to happen. This is coming from the heart now. It's coming from the heart. It's real now.
Two ships, two directions. Sounds like Providence, doesn't it, Morpheus?
You've never believed in the one.
I still don't.
Then why are you doing this?
I believe in him.
Thank you.
Meaning, he's not the one. He never was the one. She believing in him. See, when he says, you never believed in the one, Morpheus saying, you never believed in the prophecy. She never believed in the prophecy. That's why she broke up with him. She said, that's right. I believe in him. Did y'all see the difference? See, this is him acting. Not motivation based upon this is what the Bible told me, or this is what my mama told me, this is what the United States told me. This is based upon what I feel that I must do, not because this is what you expect me to do. This is my choice. The third movie is about the power of choice, love, sacrifice. See, most people's actions are not really genuinely motivated from the real source within. It's motivated from the fact what God told me, I'm obeying, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, but that's not real choice. That's not real love. You're not doing it because you want to. You're doing it because either you're afraid you're going to go to hell, you're afraid that you're going to disappoint God, or disappoint the community, or disappoint the church, whatever. True action is self-motivated action. I love and I sacrifice and I perform and I do because it's what I choose to do. Not because of what I fear not doing. It is not real. Sometimes, this is why we go through dark nights of the soul. This is why we go through times where we lose everything. This is why you lose your faith. So now you can make a real choice that's coming from what you want to do. Not because God told you, or you're following the Bible, or following the Quran, or following some prophet or some apostle, based upon something that you've been told since you were a child. Now this is coming from your heart. It's genuine. It's a commitment that's coming from within you. And now you're being true to that self because you know yourself. That make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure does.
Okay, let's move on. I'm gonna move you now because we're getting ready to have Ragnarok. We're getting ready to have the apocalypse. We're getting ready. The machines are coming. Let me move faster into this. And they're saying goodbye to each other. He's going to the machine city. He's trying to. We'll skip all this. He's going to the machine city to fight the final battle. So there they go. They're getting ready now. As you can see here, they're getting ready for battle. They're getting ready for war with the machines. The machines are coming. The machines are actually there. They have broken through the perimeter defense, and they are getting ready to attack the people. The machines are fighting for life. They're fighting to preserve their life. Everybody is in war. So we want to get to this final battle between Neo and Agent Smith. And we're going to get there in a few minutes here as the movie progress on. People are giving their lives in war, fighting, and everything. And so they come to this point whereby it's all said and done. The machines, Let's look at this part. The machines are present. It looks like it's the end of the world for them. Okay, so let's look at this. So he lost in his battle. Let me just say this: he lost his eyesight fighting this guy on the ship. So now he's blind, symbolizing total uncertainty, total trust, total faith. He's blind.
Yes. If you tell me we'll make it, I'll believe.
So they in this battle here. They go. Let's watch the rest of this, and then I'll explain as we go. They're trying to get to Machine City. Trinity goes with me because she loves him and everything.
Again, slowly.
So they crash into Machine City, and there you see all these little lines here. But what happens is that Trinity is killed in the crash.
Trinity?
I'm here.
Where?
Or she dies in the crash, rather.
You made it.
You said we would.
It's unbelievable, Trent.
We move on past this. Eventually, she's gonna die, and she tells him he can go on and everything. So let's move on past this. Get to the ultimate position where he actually confronts the machine world. Let's look at this. He's getting ready to meet what is called Deus Ex Machina. In other words, the God in the machine, consciousness in the machine. The machines are intelligent, and so he has to meet them because they are being challenged by Agent Smith. The humans have been challenged by Agent Smith and the machines. So now it comes to the end. Let's move on, move a little faster here. This is the source, the command center. So here comes the ghost in the machine. Getting ready to strike a deal with him.
I only asked to say what I've come to say. After that, do what you want. I will try to stop you.
Well, you can see he's ready to give his life now. He's at the end. He lost his love. He knows that ultimately he has to die. And he has made that choice. He's crossed that line where he's ready to give his life.
The program Smith has grown beyond your control. Soon he will spread through the city as he spread through the Matrix. You cannot stop him. I can. If that's true, then I've made a mistake and you should kill me now.
It's what he wanted. Now, how's he going to get peace? How do we get out of the matrix? That's the question. How do we get out of the matrix? With peace. How this peace is going to come. Machines have come to the human world. They're inside Zion.
What are they doing?
Morpheus now beginning to trust his own self. He's beginning to sense something is going on.
Morpheus.
Neo's getting ready to jack into the Matrix now to face Agent Smith.
And if you fail,
You see, you got these two tiers of the battle: the battle in the machine, in the Matrix, and the battle in the human world. As in the Bible, many times when you see this, where let's say whereby you see like one nation takes over another nation's temple and take their gods. The ancients understood that to be a representation of the fact there was a war in heaven. And whatever happens in heaven happens on earth. Therefore, those gods, when nations fight, the gods are fighting. And if that god of one nation overpowers the god of another nation in the heavens, the people on earth lose. As above, so below. That's right. Good job. Law of correspondence. Here come Neo getting ready to face the final battle with Agent Smith.
Talk about having a multiple personality.
He got a multiple personality, doesn't he? He's got almost everybody in the Matrix turned to him. He's guaranteed he's not going to die.
Mr. Anderson, welcome back. We missed you. You like what I've done with the place?
Begins tonight.
I know it does. I've seen it. That's why the rest of me is just going to enjoy the show. We already know that I'm the one that beats him.
See, that's how confident he is. He has the eyes of the oracle. He's seen his victory. Okay. So they get ready to have this classic battle here. We'll watch part of it. We'll jump to the end. They're going to duke it out. Now remember who they are. Who are they?
They're one person.
They're one person. This is the battle of the flesh versus the spirit. You figured it out, didn't you?
Yeah. I'm sorry, we don't take.
No, that's good. No, this is the battle of the flesh versus the spirit. This is the war. This is the war going on within you. This is Romans chapter 7. This is what this is.
Oh goodness.
You're fighting against yourself for supremacy. Look at them. Both opposing each other. Positive and a negative. Neither one of them giving up. Yin and yang. It's getting crazy.
That's what it feels like.
That's what it feels like, ain't it?
I really should thank you for it. After all, it was your life that taught me the purpose of all life. The purpose of life is to end.
He won't give up. His will to fight. Classic battle. You know how it is when you're fighting against yourself? One part fighting yourself. Neither side give up. The good in you fighting the evil in you. Let's move it ahead. You'll see it. It's gonna keep fighting. They just fighting to the highest heaven to the lowest depth. Equal in power, equal in strength. It took me a while to figure out what this battle scene was about. Finally it dawned on me. It's getting down toward the end. Now they come crashing down to the earth. Remember, everybody's connected. Everybody's connected, entangled with one another. Now it gets serious. Listen to this dialogue.
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you do it? Why? Why get up? Why keep fighting? believe you're fighting for something?
Now this is important because they're asking you the question, because you're fighting yourself. Why do you keep getting up? Why do you fight? This war within yourself between, your flesh and the spirit, good and evil. Why do you keep fighting? Why do you keep working? Why do you keep resisting, this and resisting that? Keep coming back. Keep doing what you're doing. Why? Do you know why you're doing what you're doing?
More than your survival? Can you tell me what it is? Do you even know? Is it freedom or truth? Perhaps peace? Could it be for love? Illusions, Mr. Anderson, vagaries of perception. Temporary constructs of a feeble human intellect trying desperately to justify an existence that is without meaning or purpose.
And see, this is what he's come to. He understood that life ultimately has no meaning and no purpose. What are you doing it for? What do you think you're going to get out of it? The stuff, the studying, the working, the preaching, the teaching. What do you think you're going to get out of it? In the end, it all goes back in the box. It all stays here. You die. You don't come here to stay. You come here to leave. And no matter, and it's like this is what Ecclesiastes is all about. Vanities of vanities. All is vanity. All is meaningless. It does not have any purpose. You think that you invest your life into your kids, into your church, into your community. You think you're doing it for some noble purpose. And as soon as you do it, people forget what you've done. They don't remember that. Why did Dr. King do what he do? Why he take that bullet in the neck like that? Did he think that it was going to save and deliver black folk? Look at us now. It's as if he did this for nothing. A mother can invest in a child for all their lives, and then at the end of the day, that child does what he want to do. Yeah. You leave your belongings to your children because you love them and you care for them, and that child will take that belonging and spin it up in one day on drugs or alcohol or sex or whatever. And you spent your whole life trying to deliver something good for your kids. And in the end, time goes by and wipes out your memory, your footsteps have ever been on earth, and people don't even know that you have existed. If I ask anybody right now, tell me the name of your great-great-grandparents. They lived. They made contributions. Tell me the name of your great-great-great-great-great-grandparents. Can't even remember them. How old is the earth? It's more than 6,000 years old. It's millions of years old. And we don't even remember those generations that were here before that. So what does it mean? That's what he's asking him. Do you know? What are you doing this for? He's trying to reach now into his mind and say, man, what you doing? Look at all of us. How are you going to beat us?
And all of them as artificial as the Matrix itself.
Whatever reasons that you come up with, they're just artificial reasons. Something that's to help your mind justify why you're doing what you're doing. But in the end, this is the reality.
A mind can invent something as insipid as love. You must be able to see it, Mr. Anderson. You must know it by now. You can't win. It's pointless to keep fighting.
Now listen to Neil's answer.
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
So do you know why you persist? Do you know why you keep doing what you're doing? What's your ultimate reason?
Because I choose to.
There you go. Because I choose to. I choose to. That's why he's fighting. I just made a decision. This is what I want to do. This is who I am. This is what I choose to do. I program myself. That's why you're in a matrix, and that's how you get out of the matrix. When you take up responsibility, sustained responsibility to will yourself to be. Like Shakespeare said, to be or not to be. That's the question. And it's your choice. That's the power of choice. Let's watch the end of it. They fight. Hold on a second. Let me go back. But this is the end, coming to the end. He done knocked him on the rocks here.
Wait. I've seen this. This is it. This is the end. Yes. You were laying right there, just like that.
How did he see it? Who eyes did he have? The oracles. Now keep that in mind. The oracle is in this. She's actually in him.
I stand here, right here. I'm supposed to say something.
Now hold on a second. Watch what he says. All the other time, what has he called Neo?
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. Listen now.
Everything that has a beginning has an end, Neo.
Let's start talking.
He called him Neo. And that is the oracle talking. That's why she let him have him. And that makes him realize something. The choice she made.
Look at him. Look at him turn his face.
What did I just say?
See, you don't know what he's saying.
This isn't right. This can't be right.
See, he can't figure out what's happened because remember she said you can never see past a choice that you don't understand. She couldn't see the future because she hadn't made the choice and she didn't understand it. Therefore, when he took her, he didn't see all that he thought he would see.
Because she didn't make the choice.
She hadn't made that choice yet. And he couldn't see. Now Neo gets up knowing what the deal is now.
Get away from me!
He's scared now.
What are you afraid of?
It's a trick!
You were right, sir. Oh, you're always right. It was inevitable.
Didn't stop him. He's giving his life. Like Jesus. Now, let me move on. Now they are one. He has merged what? The flesh and the spirit. It's all one. Remember, everybody's entangled. He is entangled to Neo. Neo's entangled to him and all those other entities around him. And Neo is where? Physically. In Machine City. Connected to the ghost in the machine. That means the ghost in the machine has him. Has all of them. Now watch this.
Is it over?
Now he realizes when they kill him, they can kill everything connected to him.
No, it's not fair.
He releases the spirit, the light. Everybody gotta go. Program deleted. Everything in the Matrix is deleted. Notice how Neo is laying. What symbol is he making? He's making the cross.
It is done.
What was said at the end on the cross? It is done.
I thought he said it was finished.
Well, yeah. It says it's finished, yeah. Look who's left. Who's that laying down there? The Oracle. The war is over. The Sentinels leave. Humanity is saved. The machines are saved.
It doesn't make sense.
It goes beyond logic.
He did it. He saved us.
He saved us.
They writing a new story, but they don't know how it even happened.
It's over. We did it. We did it.
What happened?
Sir, he did it, Sir. Neil, we did it.
Did what?
He ended the war. The machines are gone. The war is over, sir. The war is over. Zion! Zion! Zion, it's over! It's over! The war is over! The war is over!
Okay, them two come together, male and woman, masculine and feminine. The next pair comes together.
I have imagined this moment for so long.
Morpheus and Niobe, they come together,
So he been
male
had
and
this thought
female.
in his mind for so long, but he was thinking something else.
Right. Now they're together. So what you're seeing here is that the end of war is when the masculine and the feminine come together. As long as the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are separated, you still have duality. The more dualities you have, the more dueling you do. So the movie is teaching us that it is divine when the divine feminine and the divine masculine merge together and become one. When the shadow and the light come together and they become one, and you end the war within yourself, then you become a whole person. Man, know thyself.
Well, that's an ancient story, really.
That's an ancient story, put in a modern context. And Neo, like all gods, he's gone. And look at the symbology that they show. That's the lotus in the Buddhist symbol. That's the Christian cross. That's the lotus. It's merged. Everything is one. And the Matrix now reboots. See, in the end, the Matrix doesn't end. It only evolves. This is about evolution. The little girl, there she is. Now here comes the last pair that comes together. The architect comes back and he meets the oracle. Man and woman have to come together. The divine masculine and divine feminine. Adam and Eve become one.
Well now, ain't this a surprise?
You played a very dangerous game.
Change always is.
Change always is a dangerous game.
Just how long do you think this peace is going to last?
As long as it can. What about the others?
What others?
The ones that want out.
Obviously, they will be freed.
I have your word.
What do you think I am? Human?
So you see that there's a dichotomy. It wasn't a dichotomy, just one answer. Either you fight the machines and live, or allow the machines to live and you die. In other words, there are other choices than blue pill or red pill. There are other choices. But you got to get there, though.
We were afraid we might not find you.
Everything's okay now.
Look!
Just look at that. Beautiful. Did you do that?
For now.
That's nice. I know he'd love it.
Will we ever see him again?
I suspect so. Someday.
Now listen to this.
Did you always know?
Oh, no. No, I didn't. But I believed. I believed.
That's the movie. In the end, faith saves. But not faith coming from an outside force. Faith within you. Where you make up your own mind. That's the story of the Matrix. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was quite fascinating the way you broke it down. I mean, you were just as interesting as the movie.
Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, and I think that, you know, if people really begin to put this movie together, it tells a beautiful story. It tells a beautiful story of how we can overcome our dichotomies and what we got to do to get there in terms of to bring peace in our world. We have to unite our own self, our own shadow. We got to become one within ourselves. We got to merge the divine masculine, divine feminine within us, and we have to be willing to let go of all false realities and make up our own mind. Be genuine to their own self. Be true, and when we do that, we'll see it. But until then, we'll keep going in samsara. We'll keep going in circles. We won't evolve until we evolve. That's the whole thing. It's about growth in consciousness. That's that. Glad y'all enjoyed it.